Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm Donovan.
And I'm Jordan.
Join us as we go into the pages.
Podcast!
Welcome back to... You say it.
Say what?
Into the pages.
Into the pages.
We've been in sync some other times, but not that time. All right, well. This week, we're picking up with Yumi and Painter again, chapters 16, 17, 18.
Yes.
Last week was kind of slower chapters. Chopping chapters. I wonder how many of Brandon Sanderson's fans are female and we're like, oh, that she probably looks so cute or something.
I don't know.
Or all the guys are just like, when's the next chapter start? I wondered that. It was still interesting just because.
Good character development.
Good character development, but it's also, I just like seeing Painter's side of things, type of thing. But yeah, last week it seemed like Painter and Yumi are kind of butting heads a little. Mostly Yumi, I feel like. But let's see if anything gets better.
I think their relationship starts to mend a little bit in these chapters.
Yes.
I think the arc of their relationship so far has essentially been, what the heck is going on? Who is this person? What's going on? Kind of like figure out who each other are, and then like a betrayal on Yumi's part, where she feels like Painter betrayed her, and she's like being really like condescending and disrespectful to him because she's just like, you're a liar and essentially don't deserve anything. And then so he's frustrated and he's like starting to not like her.
Yeah.
But I think in these chapters that kind of starts to turn around a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. She does become at least a little bit more understanding for him with what happened like last chapter and trying to like save that one family. But yes. We resume to the noodle shop and
Yumi's first experience going to a restaurant.
Yes, which is just hilarious in its own.
Yeah.
We looked at this before. She doesn't even know what a noodle shop is. She probably doesn't even know anything about restaurants. I didn't even think about that till just now.
Yeah, because even like simple things, like in this chapter, so it starts off she's asking about a noodle shop, and they go back up to Painter's apartment so she can drop off her clothes and stuff. And she's even like, she's just laying her clothes out on the floor. And then Painter's like, are you just going to leave those there? And she's like, where else would I put them? Like, she's kind of like looking around over here because all his clothes are on the floor.
Yeah, that's true.
So
he's just a mess, though.
Yeah. So he's like, in the closet. And she's like, wow. You guys are so advanced. You have freaking closets. And he's like, you guys probably have closets in your world, too. And she's like, yeah, probably. Yeah. So I think her whole world is just, she lives in a cabin and everything is just given to her.
Yeah, honestly. Like, she probably doesn't even know. They have to store her stuff somewhere. Yeah. They might have, like, another caravan thing that all of her stuff is.
She must be part of a caravan. I don't know if it's mentioned it, but, I mean, Liyun and the other two.
They got to travel in something. Are they walking beside Yumi's?
Maybe they do. I don't know.
Thing. What do they call it that she travels in?
I thought it was just a wagon. Is it something?
It's just a wagon. What is it pulled by? Does she have like some sort of horse or something?
Oh, that's never said.
I don't think it ever has. That's why I'm kind of like trying to think. Like, did it actually?
Maybe it just floats about. Maybe
they're pushing it the whole time. Oh,
that's why Liyun's so cranky.
Yeah,
she's like, I just pushed your butt all the way over here.
But I'd be surprised if Liyun helped at all with that. She probably makes the two women who bathe Yumi to do it. But I think there's a lot of things that Yumi just doesn't even understand about her world. Like, if she went out in her world, she would be discovering just as much as she's discovering about Painter's world, I think. Like, yeah. She knows nothing about her world. It's all about the spirits and all these rituals, and you don't deserve this, you don't deserve that. Whatever.
And she even says something that I was like, oh, that's kind of sad. I think I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but she said it would be better if she could just be a machine.
Yeah.
And just never, that way she would never mess up and never have any feelings, never have any thoughts, and just be able to do her duty. And
that's like, what they need.
That's what they're trying to turn her into with like just all these dehumanizing rituals of saying, just all these rituals, not even the rituals, just like the constant things she has to tell herself, like that doesn't matter. Like, and she's even like in this chapter, she's like saying it's dangerous for her to be in Painter's world because she's realizing what it's like to live a normal life.
Yeah, which is I don't like it at all.
Yeah,
that she should be. I really hope she comes to the realization very soon.
Yes,
that, she's like pushing away all of the basic human needs. Like,
I think that this position of the Yoki Haijo or Haiju, or however I always forget how you pronounce it, but it is very essential and it's very important, and that's why it has all this pomp and ritual and ceremony around it. But I bet that's why other Yoki Haijos aren't as successful. You know, because they're saying they're lucky if you get like 6 or 7 spirits, and then Yumi gets like 30. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
And I bet that this has been going on for so long that they've lost what it really means and what they really need to do, and they're just lost in the ritual and doing that more than...
It's like they're focusing on the wrong thing. The people who knew the right way to do it are gone or something.
Yeah. Kind of to bring religion into it, you know, like in the Bible, when they're saying that, like, the Pharisees at the time in the New Testament were so focused on, like, following exactly the letter of the law, the letter of everything, that they had lost whatever, and so they didn't believe Jesus.
Yeah.
But
that reminds me.
I think it's kind of similar like that.
I mean, I think it's pretty widely known that Brandon Sanderson is part of the
LDS.
Latter-day Saint Church.
Yeah. And
I can't remember how... Yumi was an infant when she was chosen to be the Yoki Haiju.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I noticed in one of his other books, like, you could do a trial thing when you were 8, but it was an arithmetist. You could do this test or whatever.
Yeah. No,
when you were 8. So.
Apparently, when she was born,
but yeah,
there was some sort of sign. I don't remember
Okay.
what it was, like a star or something that made it so she was a Yoki Haijo.
Okay, yeah. So I was for some reason thinking that she was.
She probably doesn't even know who her family is.
I don't think she does.
I think Liyun's essentially raised her.
I think that's exactly what it is. I think
It's
she's
totally,
even said
oh
that.
my gosh, I can't believe I never made this connection before. This is totally a Mother Gothel Rapunzel relationship.
100%. She just needs to sing about Mother knows best. But I mean, she does have her own little way of doing that. Like, she just gaslights Yumi. Like, oh, I thought the Yoki Haiju was better than this type of crap, which is worse than what Mother Gothel does. Yeah. Well,
I think we're going to see a change in Liyun. I don't know if it's going to be a good change. I think she's probably going to get a little worse, especially all the times that they keep switching bodies. I think we see that later in this chapter. We'll talk about kind of the start of that. But getting back to where we are.
Yeah, I kind of got off on a tangent. I did want to say another thing, too. Is like, I think there's 2 reasons why Yumi doesn't even understand the world. One is because she's so secluded, and she literally, she walks. That's like the only thing she does for herself, and stacks the rocks, I guess. But it's also because I think her civilization is not as advanced yet as painters we've mentioned before. Does the world even have things like restaurants, or is it just like the farmers and the villagers, they just eat on their own, and maybe like they'll...
That's a good question.
Maybe they have some sort of social network where they'll have friends and they'll go have dinner with their friends every once in a while or something like that, but I don't think they have restaurants yet. Maybe they have inns and taverns for the normal people who are traveling.
That's all I was about to say. And it also depends on how much they travel, because but the one similarity both of these world, Painter and Yumi's world, have is that they're really inhospitable, and travel is difficult because you have to go certain places on certain established places, like especially Yumi's planet, like it's so hot, it's essentially a desert, and so if you leave these villages or are probably around these places, like you got to make sure you have enough water, and so normal people aren't going to be traveling that much.
Yeah,
it's probably just merchants and Yoki Haijos. Yeah,
I think you're definitely right, and this makes me think of back to the Silence story we read. What was it called?
Silence in the Forest of Hell.
Yeah, Silence in the Forest of Hell. Like that was the same kind of thing. Like there was just travel was known, but it was very rare. But I mean, they still had, like, Silence had her little inn or whatever. So maybe there's something like this, but it's just like that's not part of Yumi's story because she's.
Yeah, so I think all of that combined with like the isolation, not really having as much advances as Painter's World, in addition to being conditioned to reject anything human and normal, has made it so that she's incredibly naive.
Which,
if there's anything outside of her rituals, she's completely lost.
Yeah. Which there's tons of other stories out there about real life stories and more fictional stories where this is exactly what happens. Like someone grows up like as a nun or something like that. I don't know a lot about nuns and their religion and anything, but I swear I've seen things like that where like they're in some sort of religion thing, and then they have to leave it for one reason or another, and it just their whole world is like completely.
Yes.
They literally have no idea what to even do. They can't.
I thought of the Chris Farley movie Beverly Hills Ninja.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Where
are my shoes?
Yes, when he was at that really fancy hotel, he kept taking his shoes off every time he would go inside. But then, like one of the attendants would take it away, and he'd be like, "Who the Krampus?" I want to watch that movie. It's a funny movie.
It's a good one. I haven't seen it forever. We should watch it. All right, well, back to the restaurant.
Yes,
I was actually a little disappointed with the restaurant because since Yumi has been such a jerk throughout the last 5 chapters or whatever, I was hoping she would just look like an idiot and like make a mess of herself, but she managed to eat fine. Dang it.
Yes. We get a little more insight into Painter too. So apparently, there's this group of friends that go there regularly. You got Akane. Let me turn to where all their names are. Okay, so we got Tojin. So we got Akane, Tojin, Masaka, and they call her Izzy. Her full name is like Izu Makamo, or something like that. But they call her Izzy, thank goodness.
Yeah, seriously, because I think it's so funny. I swear. I think I showed you this video that I saw where it's like how people read in their head when they're fantasy readers like us, and like there's these just weird names that the author comes up with, and it's not just like it's like people's names and like city names too. They're like, and she turned left to go to her, and she was thinking to herself, how am I going to figure this out? Like, it just mumbles in your head because you don't know how to say the name.
Yes, you just like recognize what the name looks like.
That's totally why, like, if it was like not as much of a money suck, I would totally buy like the physical book or the Kindle book and the audio book just so like I could go look into the audio book when some name came out so that I could hear what they say.
Yeah, seriously. There's a meme I saw that was reading fantasy books is knowing the exact shape of a leaf and exactly how a cabin smells, but having no idea how to pronounce the character's name.
That describes really well, I think. That describes it really well.
Yeah, the insight. So this is a really cool chapter. One, because the insight we get into Painter. So Painter apparently used to hang out with these people and like be with them.
Yeah. I think I've forgotten a lot about what happened in the beginning chapters because like I thought that he was more of an outcast, but it almost seems like
he'd always been one. But
yeah, I thought he'd always been one too, but it almost seems like he, for some reason, was like self-sabotaging or something.
That's what it seems like, because you had his boss say that he always wants to be the center of attention, which doesn't seem to be him. So I wonder if it's just recently he's depressed. And he also mentioned that he used to hang out with these people and that Akane was nice to him. But then he has like passive thoughts here, because right now we're in Painter's perspective, and he's thinking like, I guess it's kind of bitterness, anger, maybe a little bit of like sadness. But he's saying Akane was quick to befriend him and quick to drop him. And so I wonder if that's just his perspective. I wonder if he did something really weird and they were kind of like, that's weird, and then he just started not to stop hanging out with them.
Yeah, so maybe there is some parts of Painter's story we haven't seen yet, obviously, that Sanderson is kind of just like dropping little hints here and there. Like,
yeah,
like we go into this thinking like with it, we join in on this pity party for Painter, thinking like, oh, poor him, he has this crap job where he like risks himself for people who don't appreciate him, they barely pay him. Yeah. And his coworkers are kind of jerks, his boss is a jerk, and now he has to deal with going to Yumi and whatever. Maybe
we're just getting,
there's like two sides to every story, right? So maybe like
maybe we're getting this whole thing filtered through his depression and not necessarily how it actually is.
So maybe it is just that. Maybe he kind of was like a hot-headed little bit of a tool or whatever, and then Akane and the rest of her friends are kind of like, this guy sucks. He's kind of a little like attention hog type of thing, and just wants to be the hero. I mean, that would make sense to me, since the first thing he wanted to do with Yumi was like he wanted to be mysterious and like this hero, and he wanted to be looked up to and blah blah blah. So
that's very true.
That would be a part of the story that would catch me by surprise if it suddenly was like, oh yeah, Painter, you suck.
They sound like a fun group of friends though. Like I want to hang out with them. You got like, dang it, Masaka. She's like a kind of like she's quiet and she just kind of sketches, but she's also kind of creepy. Like she draws a picture for Yumi that's a rabbit with like really wide eyes. And she's like, Yumi reminds me of a bunny rabbit. And then Painter's like, oh, that means she likes you.
Like, she's got her own little like language you got to interpret.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. And then you have, I don't know if I would like get along with Tojin very well, but Tojin, he seems like a jock, but I don't know if he actually is.
Yeah, he definitely seems like a wannabe jock.
Because he's an artist and he's a painter and he has this like low minimum jobs, but he's like, at least the way Painter describes him, which may be colored with jealousy, is he's arrogant and really focused on his body. He's like, because he mentions to Yumi, he's like, that's Tojin, and he will never give up an opportunity to show off to the ladies. He's always going to show off his body. So it seems like a little bitterness, jealousy, probably because Akane always flirts with him, right, or hangs out with him.
Does she flirt with him, or is it just like
I don't know if she flirts with him, but in the beginning when we first met Painter, he saw Akane and Tojin walking through the streets laughing and talking. So
he just kind of
what I'm thinking.
Jump to it.
I think it's kind of like, oh, I like Akane, and he's in there, and he just thinks he's all that. And he's like,
yeah, that's probably. I think it's more bitterness than anything. But he definitely does come off as like someone who is a little more about his looks and his muscles.
Yeah, especially because he's sitting there and he's like doing the hand thing.
Yeah,
and he's like his sleeves rolled up to show off his muscles.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
And we even get a little painting. Jumping ahead a little bit, we get another picture that shows them all kind of together, and you see Masaka, she's kind of huddled and drawing, and you see Akane, she's kind of lounging, and then you see Izzy, and she's kind of talking animatedly, but then you see Tojin, and he's like leaning open posture, and he looks like he's a friendly guy, but in the drawing,
yeah, maybe a little cockier, kind of like a wannabe or something, a
little into himself, but
maybe he's a little like Painter, where he wants to be like a ladies' man.
Yeah. And then Izzy seems like an interesting person too. She's trying to start a new trend called drama scopes, kind of like horoscope, but like drama scope. I think she calls it, where she asks when you what year you were born, what month you were born, and then she goes to an episode of a drama that was playing at that time and like gives you a reading. And she did it with Yumi.
And I like how Painter like tries to mess with her. Like, it'd be funny to tell her this.
Yeah. Tell her you're the dragon in the month of rain. I'm like, that sounds like an interesting culture. Very like
definitely Asian because they have the year of like all sorts of things, and Year of the Dragon is one of them.
Yeah. I've never heard month of something though.
I haven't either actually.
Month of rain. So yeah, she said that today's going to be a good luck, and she's going to great day for making promises.
Oh yeah, that's right. And I was thinking, she was mentioning, and also you will have very good luck today. I was like, gee, I could use some luck.
Right.
And I was kind of curious to see if Izzy's little thing did kind of play out, and if like I tried to pay closer attention to see if like luck went their way or if it kind of seemed normal, and kind of did.
Kinda, yeah.
You know, that's like a stretch, though. I still feel like, but
yeah. So they kind of just talk and have some banter, and then it comes time and Painter gets a little, like he's like, I don't want to be here anymore. So he like goes to the edge of where he can leave.
Yeah,
Yumi.
he's kind of he's starting to feel sorry for himself and like
so
depressed.
I think he goes up to the bar, right? He goes up to the bar.
Something like that, yeah.
And Yumi's kind of like, where are you going? But doesn't say anything. And then eventually she does come up, though, because it's time for her to order some food. And you could, again, see how naive and just... I don't think Yumi would survive on her own. I think if you were to put her back in her world and take away everything...
Definitely not.
And just make her live a normal life, she would... Maybe she's capable, but she would have a hard time. But yeah, she comes up and she's like, she's overwhelmed by even just ordering, because she's like, what do I get? Like, tell me, what should I eat? Tell me, like, what... And what was it? Oh yeah, it's the way she words it I thought was important. She said, "Is there a specific dish I'm supposed to have?" Not like, normal people would be like, "Oh, what's good here? Like, what should I get?"
Yeah.
Like it's just asking because you've never been there, someone else has, and so they know it's good. But she's just like, everything's such a ritual to her. She's like, "What am I supposed to do?"
Yeah, I totally missed that, but yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's like little things like that. And then even when she's like, you can pick anything you want, and then she gets nervous. And then he just tells her, he's like, get a small pork with salt, no add-ons. And she's like, oh, okay. So she's been so drilled and conditioned to not do anything for herself that she's almost become incapable of it. Like, she's so unsure at times, and the only times that she's confident and sure is when she thinks that she's operating within the ritual of the Yoki Haijo, which makes sense because that's all she does. And then the best part of the chapter.
Ugh. So she goes up to order, right? That's what.
Yes, she comes to order. She's talking to Painter, and then
Or did she order?
She hasn't ordered yet.
So Design was coming out with someone else's food.
Yeah.
I was thinking, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's important.
Yeah. So Design walks out, and she drops soup that she's carrying, looks right at Painter, and says, "Nakaro, are you dead?" And it's kind of like, what?
Yes, holy crap. But I one small part that I really liked. I like how she used the Stormlight Archive curse.
Yes, storms.
And is that where it ends right there? No. Yes.
Yeah, that's
how the chapter
ends.
ends.
That's the end of chapter 16.
Nakaro, are you dead?
Yes.
But yeah, holy cow. That's not what I was expecting. I was kind of going off of your prediction last episode where maybe Yumi would see Hoyd and be like, oh, is that the spirit?
But nope. She just sees him as a statue. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, and so I left out this part in the picture, the painting that I was talking about earlier, because I just wanted to talk about the friends. But also in this, you see the back of Design's head, but more importantly, you get a nice image of Hoyd.
Yes, you do. You get a nice image of Hoyd.
And he looks different than he does in like.
What, Yumi?
Because this is what I normally see. Like, that's kind of what I pictured Hoyd as being.
And that is Hoyd. But yeah,
I assumed it was
he doesn't
Hoyd.
look like that at all, yeah.
But in this drawing, he doesn't look like that at all. He looks kind of like an Indiana Jones adventurer. Like, he's kind of like more. This one. He's like a more of a slight build, but in the drawing here, he looks more athletic. I don't know how to. I can't zoom in on my phone, so I can't show the camera. But yeah, he's like more chiseled, more. And it could just be an artist's interpretation. I don't know what.
Yeah, I wonder, because actually, I don't know who drew this, and I don't know who drew the stuff in Yumi. I mean, it shows in the book somewhere.
So I would be curious to see if Brandon's come out and said how he imagines Hoyd looking, because he said he's happy with, and whenever he gives these artworks, he's like, I'm very happy with what they did.
Yeah,
they really
captured
it. And I also know that Brandon's really open-minded with creative license, I guess I would call it.
Yeah, that's right. I watched the Brandon's book club or whatever he puts up on his YouTube channel. I watched the one with the Frugal Wizard, and they had the guy who drew the pictures for Frugal Wizard on the panel or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, that's what he said. He's like, Brandon's is like, come up with something. This is what it is. Here's the book or whatever. I think he gave. I don't know if he got the whole book right off the bat, or if he got like a version of it that still hadn't been revised. But whatever he had, like, Brandon was just gonna like come up with something. The artist had free reign. So, but yeah. Which I'm not an artist. I don't ever. Yeah. I don't do anything for someone, a client or whatever. So I have no idea. But that sounds nice.
Yeah.
It would be nice if I go to work and be like, do whatever you want. You got it.
I think it makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, we learn a lot. Well, maybe not a lot, but we learn more about kind of we answer one question, I guess I should say. We still don't know what's going on, why they're being transferred, but essentially it seems like for some reason when they transfer bodies, one of them exists in, I think, the cognitive realm, kind of. Because a spren, so Design, for those who don't remember, is a cryptic, a spren from Roshar with an illusion to look like a woman. And so she can see Painter for some reason. And the way she describes it, I don't remember all the details, but essentially, I don't know, I guess it's like his soul or his spirit or something, and it's just, I think that's why she just thought he was dead. Like, that was her first question. She's like, OMG, you dead, bro?
Yeah.
But and also another really important thing we know is, so they kind of explain to her what's been going on, and they ask, like, how come when I go to her world, I'm in her body, but when she comes here, she's in her body? And Design explains that Yumi is so invested. Investiture is, for those who may not be familiar with the Cosmere terminology, each planet and each world has a different shard or a different god that grants different, essentially magical abilities. Like Roshar, you have the Knights Radiant. Scadrial, you have the Mistborn and the Metalborns.
Yeah, all the people.
And those abilities are people who can access them have investiture, are invested with a certain type of power that the god grants. And so she's saying that Yumi is like almost like bursting with it.
Yeah, which is weird because I don't think she says this about Yumi's world, but she was talking about the nightmares, and like the reason the nightmares are in Painter's world is because the god is dead in this world,
Yes,
which was also super interesting.
Apparently the miasma is pure investiture, and the nightmares come out of it. And she's like, apparently that's what happens when a god dies, when you kill a god. And that's why, and we find out that's why Hoyd is there, because he wanted to study that.
Which I hope maybe we'll learn something more about that once Hoyd is free.
Yes, it seems like Hoyd gets himself trapped quite a bit.
Seriously.
Because he's frozen as a statue here. He was turned into a weirdo simpleton in Tress.
Yeah. So yeah, she kind of explains that since Yumi is bursting practically with investiture, her spirit or whatever shapes Painter's body.
Yes, forces it to look like her. And so so she says, Painter, it is your body. It's just a girl now. And Painter's like, I don't want to be a girl.
Yeah, and I love what she says later, like your body will probably snap back once she's like no longer attached. He's like, probably, definitely, probably. like, oh man, I have no confidence. I'm gonna be a dang woman.
That makes me wonder if like when they leave, if his body changes back to him. It's like whenever she falls asleep, it changes back to Painter. So if anyone were to come into his apartment while they're in Yumi's world, they would see Painter and not.
Yeah, I wonder if that's probably true. Like they'll just find him passed out somewhere. That would be actually really interesting because I think thus far in Painter's world, they haven't gone to sleep with anyone else around.
Yeah, not in Painter's world. They've always fallen asleep in his apartment.
So I wonder what would people do? Like suddenly Yumi falls down asleep
and then like
morphs
into
Painter.
They would probably be like, oh, I knew he was a creep and now he's posing as this weirdo girl.
I wonder if they'd like freak out, obviously, and like lock him up or something. And then they were going to wake up. Maybe that'll happen. I bet you that'll happen sometime in the future. That'll be really interesting. I also wanted to jump back just a little bit because I thought this was funny. When Design and Yumi are first introduced, I love what Design says. Do you remember what she says?
No, what did she say?
So, let's see. So Painter just kind of explains what's been going on with him and why he's like in this ghostly form. And then so he introduces Yumi. She's like, hello, would you like to shake meat appendages?
Oh, yes. I forgot about that. And
Yumi's
Yumi's reaction is kind of like, she holds it out and she expects to bow, but then she's like, she just like wiggled it a little bit. So she like shook her hand and she was like, why are you wiggling my hand?
Hello, everyone. For this next part, it's just going to be audio only. Unfortunately, while we were recording this next little bit, the power went out, so we have no video for it. Luckily, our audio recorder was on battery, so we didn't lose that. Hope you enjoy it still, and stay tuned for the end of the episode, where we will unbox Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. Thanks for watching.
I think I don't know if this was intentional, but this picture also, Yumi and Painter look like they could be twins. They look very similar. Like their build, their facial features. And I wonder if that's the real reason Painter was chosen. Or part of the reason is because maybe they had to be similar enough that the transfer could be...
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Maybe that's part of the reason. But
I just got to the photo, and actually, I totally am more convinced that... Toji? What's the guy's name? Tojin. I'm definitely convinced he's like... he's really into his body and his looks, and... Because in this picture, he's like flexing even.
He reminds me of that guy on Full Metal Alchemist.
Which one?
He's the weird one. He has like one hair and then like a huge mustache.
And
he always like tears off his shirt.
Major Armstrong.
Yeah.
He's still different. Like Major Armstrong just like rips off his clothes and is like crying and grabbing because he feels so bad for someone. Like for some reason having his shirt ripped off is necessary, but
yes. And we Design has some funny lines and things in here that she does. So she basically they're talking and figuring things out, and Yumi asks if Design is a spirit, and she's a spren, and so she's kind of like, well, what do you mean? What's a spirit to you? What does that mean? And she's like, kind of explains a little bit like what spirits do in her world, and she's like, yes, I'm a spirit. And of course, Yumi instantly goes into her like weird, respectful groveling, and she's like going to bow down. She's like, oh, great spirit. And Design whacks her with a spoon. It was freaking hilarious. Just like, whoosh. It's like, stop that. And he was just like,
She's probably never been treated like that in her life, let alone by a spirit. But that's hilarious. I did love that part.
yes. And then she also kind of reminded me a little bit of, Sylphania, the way that she was talking, because she was like, I am a part of God, but right now there's a rule that not to worship me. I just made up that rule right now. And Syl's always doing stuff like that.
I forgot about that. Wow, yeah.
Must be a spren thing. Yeah. And she's also kind of talks a little bit about how they ended up on this planet and how like woe is her. She's like, we came up here and he just froze, and I had to like start a restaurant, and like I'm a business owner.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm an employee. I'm employed. No, that's what she says. She's like, I gotta get back to work. I'm employed.
She's the owner. Oh gosh.
And just the way she's talking, and she's like, but it's okay. This trip here to this planet wasn't a complete waste, because I always wanted to know what it was like to like own a business and make noodles. And then Hoyd chimes in, and he's like, so this is the sprint of all the sprint I bonded, this is the one I bond. It was like, instead of trying to help me, just opens a restaurant.
Yeah, what the heck. And it seems like she has no idea what happened to Hoyd, I think, let alone
she doesn't
what
know
to do
why.
for him, because like I almost imagine like him coming down in a spaceship, and like the second he stepped foot on this planet, he just froze and became the
Just
statue
turned
that he
into a
is now.
statue.
Or maybe I don't know how he travels with like I assume he went through Shadesmar or something. Did we get that
No, we haven't got that. But
Okay.
I think that is how he travels. So
Okay. Anyway, however he comes, he just seems like he literally stepped foot on this planet.
yeah.
I did think it was a little interesting when Yumi started eating. That I was surprised by this, because I had mentioned a few episodes ago that I thought Yumi got fed the best. Like they brought her maybe the best food, the choicest cuts of meat or whatever, if she even eats meat. But here, when she first eats this noodle soup,
It's like an explosion of flavor and experience and some stuff she's never had before. So I guess it makes sense they feed her bland food to just keep her alive.
yeah, it would be more in keeping with how she has been raised. Like, oh, Yoki Haiju is not good enough or whatever crap to have flavored food. It'd be too distracting. But I thought it was interesting that even this bland food that probably is this soup that Painter had her order probably is not the best, and the people who live there probably be like, I'll get that for a child who's not used to spice or something. But adults want something with more flavor.
Oh, okay, sorry. I found the rule she made up, and I thought it was funny. Just going back, she said, no worshiping the bits of God when they're on vacation. It's a rule I just made up.
Oh, yeah. It's a rule I just made up, like literally just then. So, does she not like to be worshipped or something?
Yes. Hoyd needs better friends. And Tress, it was the Conjure that was just kind of thought it was funny that he was like this. And then in Design, it's just like, I'm going to take this opportunity to open a noodle restaurant. Well, he's frozen at statue.
Oh, yes, there is.
And then Painter kind of gets confronted in a very awkward. I think this would be awkward for any guy, because Yumi's like, how did you never even know that she was a spirit? And he's like, I don't know, she's just weird. And Design was like, I've dropped plenty of hints, but he was too busy staring at my butt. And he was like, and she's like, it's okay. Like, she turns around, she's like, it's a very nice butt, isn't it? Because it's like something that was designed and attached to her.
Oh man, I would totally love to go to a restaurant with someone like Design running it.
Right.
That would just make things so interesting.
And he gets all embarrassed. He's like, I didn't know you noticed. And he's like, women always notice.
Yes.
And he's like, I was like, they do. But then Yumi is like, she's like, I don't think I would notice. But then I was like, I think she would notice. But remember when she was walking through the city dressed all weird, she's like, all these people are staring at me because they know that I'm a Yoki Haijo and they can sense my greater purpose. And so she probably does notice people staring at her. But instead of assuming that they're like gawking at her or looking her up and down thinking she's attractive, they're like, oh, they just know I'm a Yoki Haijo and they're staring at me, so I need to act the part and be pristine. And so that's I think that's how she interprets people looking at her.
Yeah, that's pretty makes sense. And I mean, like, it did talk about when she had finally changed out of all those weird clothes, random clothes she put on, like the whatever dress she bought, that people weren't looking. I don't remember if it was Painter who noticed it or Yumi who noticed it, but it was mentioned in the previous chapters.
I think it was a mix of both.
So this kind of is it's like a little different. It's a bit of a different story now, but we kind of got the same end. What we're kind of trying to work towards, where we need Hoyt to be free.
Yeah. They kind of say, like, can we help him? And Paint Design's like, you can try. I've tried everything, and it's not working. And then Painter's like, so you're useless.
Yes. And the thing that sucks about this one is with Tress, like, someone had an idea. I don't remember who it was. I think it was, what's the rat boyfriend name? Charlie. Wasn't it Charlie who said, you can go talk to the witch. Maybe he'll help. Or was it the Condra doctor dude? I don't remember who it was. Someone had the idea to go talk to the witch in the Black Sea. So they had at least something of a goal. This time it's just like, the one person who can know anything. I don't know.
Well, she does say that Hoyt would be able to help because she's like, Hoyt understands.
I mean, like, yeah, but like, okay, great. Hoyt can help.
So Hoyt can help, but how do we help Hoyt so Hoyt can help us?
Exactly. That's where it's like, I don't know. I just serve noodles. I don't know what to do.
Oh, here it is. So I'm not good at this sort of thing. The guy you want is Hoyt. He's a pain in the butt, remarkable ones and common ones alike. So she's like fixated on butts. But he understands realmatic theory better than anyone I know. And then Hoyt interjects, it's nice to be appreciated.
Yes.
So whatever the heck realmatic theory is what's happening to them. So it's like, it's almost like design knows what's happening but doesn't know how to like explain it or help with it.
Yeah, maybe it's kind of like if you think about buildings. I just thought of this, but you think about like all the buildings. Like, we understand they're like architects who use math and crap to build this thing, but we have no idea what math you need to do and stuff like that.
There's a comedian that made a really funny joke about this. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Nate Bargatze. But he made a joke that if he went back in time, he wouldn't be able to make a difference at all. Because he's like, people can travel in space. And they're like, really, how? And he's like, I don't know. Like, he's like, we can talk about each other on cell phones. Like, how do cell phones work? And he's just like,
I shouldn't even brought that up.
Like, I shouldn't even brought that up. Like, who's the next president? And he's like, Abraham Lincoln. You're really gonna like him. He's like, oh, the also crazy person. He's like, I'll probably die. Or like end up being a waiter or something.
Well, I think that's literally what happened, because unless I could be like the Frugal Wizard and bring back technology with me, I ain't gonna do jack for these guys.
And it would work. Like our phones would essentially not work unless there was downloaded stuff on there.
Yeah,
you could be like, see you, and once it dies, you're kind of like, okay, well, that was just a glass brick.
Yeah, seriously.
And then kind of wrap up the chapter. Yumi starts to get tired. And it's like, Painter's kind of like thinking it's only been 6 hours. So that's like not a lot of time. 6 hours to be in somewhere. Especially when you're like desperately trying to figure out what the crap is going on and solve problems.
And wasn't it mentioned in this chapter, since Yumi, her spirit or whatever, is making Painter's body look like her, she's expending more energy and can't last as long. Like, he can last a lot longer on her planet than she can. I guess that's true. Yeah, but the design did say it would get easier as time goes on. But I'm worried, and I think Painter should be worried too. The easier does it get, does that mean that the body begins to accept that it's going to look like that? Yes.
Or does that mean that Yumi's just getting stronger and better able to do it?
I guess we'll see. Because that's a really good point. Maybe Hoyt will have to do some mumbo jumbo to make him look like a boy more again.
So they go back to the apartment. They know that they're going to try to help Hoyt, but they got to get back to the apartment so Yumi can go to sleep in, I guess, a relatively safe place. But he doesn't want her to go to sleep. He wants to keep her awake. And I thought this part was hilarious. So he turns on a TV. He's able to turn it on for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
He says that he like puts his finger towards it. There's like a zap and it turns on.
His finger glowed or something.
Yeah, something like it glowed, and then he felt the zap.
So it wasn't his like a physical thing. It was some sort of magicness that.
A little zap of light appeared at his fingertip, and the thing activated. So
maybe he can interact with the neon lights, and then just kind of have to figure out.
Yeah. And then this part is so funny. It's like a pair of actors, and this is from Yumi's perspective. A pair of actors appeared in blue and magenta, a man and a woman holding hands Yumi's eyes widen. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, jeez.
But it's because he's like, this is Seasons of Regret. It's old timey. It's traditional. You really like it.
And really, she's like the I think back to like the beginning of time. Not really the beginning of time, but like the beginning, America's early days when it was still being like settled and everyone wore clothes up to their necks and socks down to their toes and like literally hands
socks
and
down
face.
to their toes.
Yes.
My socks go down to my toes.
I was thinking of whatever those things. I guess they don't have anything that pulls down. They pull stuff up. Whatever. They wore a lot of clothes,
Yes.
even though it was hot. And like the idea of being just even a little immodest or like sex was like is such taboo. Like I feel like that's the
Anything
exact
like
same.
even anything that like hints at it. Or
Yeah, like that's.
mildly
I think
related.
that's the exact same thing. That's kind of the place Yumi's coming from. Not only because like she's the Yoki Haiju, but that's just how her world is, maybe, or because she's the Yoki Haiju. Like all that stuff is just like a mystery. Like she's not allowed to find a husband and start a family. Like, oh no, you're the Yoki Haiju. So maybe that's why it's more shocking. It's not because it's like taboo, but it's because it's like something she is herself forbidden.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I can see that. But yeah, that doesn't last long. She turns it off. And then to kind of wrap up this chapter, they essentially grudgingly agree on Painter's side that he's going to learn how to stack rocks and he's going to teach Yumi how to paint so that when they're in each other's world, they can do each other's jobs, essentially.
Yes.
And then she falls asleep and we're back in Yumi's world.
Yes, there was one more thing I wanted to bring up because I recognized this. I think it's a planet, but I don't remember where it's from. Threnody?
I didn't recognize it. Maybe it's somewhere in Arcana Unbound. But
I think that's where it was.
I didn't immediately recognize it.
I think it was Arcana Unbound. Unbounded. Anyway.
This design's been there, and apparently this place is weirder than there.
Which is saying something. All right, yes. Chapter. I also, you see little hints throughout all these chapters where that Yumi might rebel and finally kind of realize that the Yoki Haiju is kind of a scam type of thing or something. And that she's a regular human person, even if she is the Yoki Haiju. She deserves the basic necessities and basic, the basic comforts of life, like good food and taking a bath by yourself, whatever. But I just thought it was interesting how at the end of this, Painter's kind of like, I just want to get my life back, and she's like, I don't.
Oh yeah,
Like by herself, she kind of just herself, like there's those little things like that that's making me think that eventually by the end of the book, she's gonna be like, that's enough, leave alone, behead her, or something.
Yeah. And Painter even kind of fed into it a little bit. He's even like, did you think that this is like do you think this is a reward from the spirits that are saying,
look how what
like
nice
relax?
I
don't think that is what it is. I think he's just trying to get her to chill and relax. Even she's like, no, because the spirits were like in pain and they desperately needed help. So
all right, yeah, that's chapter 17. We get to 18 and part 3.
Yep, part 3, chapter 18. Start off in the bath, normal things happening. Take a bath. Liyun comes after the bath, and Yumi's pretty strict on how he interacts with her. We also have another painting of them taking a bath.
I thought that was funny that we have 2 paintings now in the bath.
Looks like their soap is like floating in a bowl.
Yeah, I wondered where it was, but that actually looks like a really nice bath spot. I'd go there, but alone.
Yes, not naked. I would just like hang out in there because it's probably warm.
Oh yeah, that'd be more of a like a hot spring for us than it would be a nice bath.
And then Yumi's kind of talking, and she's saying she's worried about Liyun, and Painter's like, you should be worried about me. And she's like, you are nothing. The Yoki Haiju is nothing.
Seriously.
When she arrives to speak with us, and like she's just saying, you get on your knees and apologize to Liyun.
I wouldn't be able to do that. Be like, yeah, screw you.
Yeah.
But I thought Yumi still doesn't have her head on straight when it comes to Liyun. Like she's so worried. Oh, she's gonna be humiliated. No. She's not going to be humiliated. She's going to turn it around on you. Well, maybe she is. Maybe she will be embarrassed, but she's going to like take it out on Yumi. Is kind of what I thought. Yeah. But I still like that was stupid.
Yes. And he even tries to like get a jab at Yumi. He's like, if you keep acting like this, you're going to push people away. And she's like, that's appropriate. I need to be set apart. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
Then Liyun comes, and they both bow to each other. And Liyun's like, what the heck, what the F is going on?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening? And then through Painter repeating what Yumi says, they come up with an excuse. They're saying, that time when I summoned 30 whatever spirits has affected me somehow, and I think that there's a spirit possessing me.
Oh,
And
yes.
she's like, and I need to relearn how to stack rocks. And Liyun's kind of like, okay, I'll go tell the village leaders, when they're going to be really mad and humiliated. Not mad, but they're going to be ashamed and humiliated that we have to do this and that they're being dishonored or whatever the heck. Because
Yeah.
it seems like the village leaders think that they did something wrong, that the village did something wrong, and that's why Yumi is acting this way. And we're on the other side, Liyun saying that Yumi did something wrong. It's like it's Yumi's fault that this is happening, but the villagers think it's their fault that this is happening. And so it's kind of like it's this weird relationship where the Yoki Haijo is such a high position, but yet
Such a
not.
low position.
I don't even know.
at the same
I don't even know how to
time.
describe it. It's like everyone views it as like a high position, but it's really not. It's essentially a slave, and essentially just not being able to do anything. And I know that it's essential functions, and that apparently the world can't survive unless they get 6 planting pots that are going to dissolve in a couple months. Like, I think it's just way out of proportion, blown way out of proportion. I've said that multiple times this whole time, but Liyun agrees.
She actually took it better than I was expecting. She wasn't as
She
much
seemed more
mature.
resigned than like taking it better. She seemed more like,
Yeah.
all right.
I was really kind of expecting once Yumi told Painter to have once Yumi had Painter interpret all this stuff to Liyun, I was expecting her to be like, "Oh man, I really need to go get whoever she was." We haven't heard about, I don't think, who it was she kind of threatened to talk to about what they need to do about Liyun or Yumi.
I wonder if you would just talk to the other guardians or mentors
Yeah, or
or
something.
whatever they
But
actually
I
use.
was expecting her to be like, "Oh man, I really need to we need to take you away now because you need to be punished for all this, whatever." That's what I was expecting her to
Yes.
do.
I
She
still don't think that we've seen the steps that were hinted at that can be taken against a Yoki Haijo that's not performing her duty, which I think is ritual sacrifice. Because maybe there's like only a limited amount, and so when one dies, another is born, type of thing. So if you're messing up, not doing a good job, you gotta go.
yeah, jeez.
And so training starts, and it sounds freaking awful.
Yeah, gee,
It
no.
essentially consists of picking up a rock, feeling it, getting to know its weight and where it's heavy, where it's light,
Yeah,
putting
center
it
of
down,
gravity,
picking up
all
another
that.
rock, but do the same thing, put it down, pick another rock, do the same thing. And Yumi says, we're going to do this for at least a week. And Painter's like, a week? And she's like, I did this for months and months. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, honestly, a week, way too much.
Of
A day, too much.
picking up rocks.
No.
And Painter's kind of complaining. He's like, let's go in the shade. It'll be warmer there. And Yumi's like, no, the heat's coming from the ground. It won't be warmer there.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay, can I have gloves? And she's like, oh. I just pictured this whole interaction of dealing with my dang kids. Like, that's totally what I saw all this. Like, we're at Disneyland waiting in line. And they're like, can we go in the shade? I'm like, we can't go in the shade. We have to stay in line. Like, can I have water? I'm like, just like asking all these questions when we're supposed to be doing something. And it's like,
Yeah. And Liyun kind of had attitude, too, when Painter asked for gloves.
yes.
Of course, but... And, man, I don't know about you, but if I was in Painter's position, my patience would be waning
Razor, it would be
fast.
thin and
Like,
man.
how could you... It has to be so taxing to have everything you do to just be like, oh, no, that's not appropriate. Oh, no, you are nothing. I'd be like, okay, why not I just
And,
jump
like-
off a cliff and end this?
Yeah, so what makes this worse is he didn't choose this. This was just like,
Yeah, that too.
he was just going about his life, and then all of a sudden he's in this world, and it just has this force him to do all these things. It's
How
not-
could you? That would just put you in such a pit of depression to have like
Yes.
everything you do to be shameful. Like, no, thank you. So I feel bad for Painter, even though maybe on his world he needs to have therapy and figure out his own crap. Stop being
He
depressed.
definitely has his own issues, but I think Liyun does have it worse off than he does. But not to minimize what he's going through, because I think he is legitimately depressed, and I think he legitimately needs help. But
He needs help to realize what he's doing. What we kind of
Yes.
theorize he is doing is actually what's causing him to be depressed and like have people shun him. And
where like Yumi is essentially trapped. The only way out for her is death. Is what is the impression that I'm getting. Hopefully the story will change and she'll summon some great spirit that'll smite Liyun, and then she'll be like, "Oh my lord,
Yes, hopefully she says it.
But that's kind of where it ends. Kind of at the training, painter's kind of like, oh, this sucks. So interesting. We're getting some traction in these chapters. We got design that kind of maybe knows why, like what's happening when they transfer, not why they're transferring, what they need to do. We've officially just learned that they need to free Hoyd. So once they free Hoyd, maybe something else will happen, or maybe Hoyd's the one that talks to Yumi. I don't know.
Oh yes.
Hello, everyone.
Hoyd
Sorry
was
for this
a joke.
interruption. Hello, everyone. Sorry for this interruption. This next part is just going to be audio only. Unfortunately, something like that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Hello, everyone. For this next part, it's just going to be audio only. Unfortunately, while we were recording this next little bit, the power went out, so
I
we have
hope
no
she
video
is.
for it. Luckily,
she'll at least
our
feed
audio
him if
recorder
she
was on
can't
battery, so we
provide
didn't
anything
lose
more
that.
than
Hope you
what
enjoy it
this guy
still, and stay tuned for the end of the episode where we will unbox Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. Thanks for watching.
Curious to see what's going to happen with that, if they're going to prioritize freeing Hoyd while they're in Painter's World, and then prioritize other things. I'm also curious to see how the training's going to go. I want to see if Yumi has any aptitude for painting. I don't think she will, but
I don't think so either.
maybe she'll figure something out.
Yeah.
I still want to know. I'm still curious to see what's going to go on with everything. One interesting thing I think is we kind of talked about this a little bit, but apparently when I think it's weird that when Painter goes into Yumi's body, it doesn't really seem like he's in her body.
Yeah.
He doesn't have her ability to kneel for a long time. Doesn't seem like he has calluses on his hands because his hands are hurting, and he has to get gloves because the rocks are too hot. But you think that him being in her body would have all of her calluses, endurance, muscle strength. It doesn't seem like it does. I'm kind of curious if that's ever going to get explained.
Yeah, because it is kind of weird. Because I think, it would make more sense that if someone inhabited someone else's body, they would have all the physical abilities of that person. Maybe not all the dexterity and moving, whatever, but if that person's strong, they would be strong. If they're super weak, then they're going to be weak. But it seems like it goes off of the soul in this, rather than like the physical body. But
So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see how the training goes. I'm sure at this point they're probably going to do some sort of emergency is going to happen. Like maybe they're going to run into a nightmare in Painter's World. Yumi's not going to be able to.
I don't see how that couldn't happen. I think it's like gotta happen because that would be such like an interesting like story.
And I wonder if
Deviant.
they'll be attracted to her because how
Ah.
invested she was. I wonder if that means that nightmares are going to be like the ones that do come.
They'll see maybe if a nightmare was able to feed off of her, they'd get a lot more than if they were to feed off of a regular person. That would be interesting to see. Maybe they'll wake up one time in Painter's World and a nightmare will be there feeding off of them or something. I don't know how that would work though, since maybe he's not dreaming. He's in Yumi's world. Yeah.
His body's essentially in a vegetative state.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm
So if
thinking.
your soul's not there, I guess you don't really dream.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Like if your mind's not there, what's there dreaming? You're just a husk. So I thought it'd be fun, since we haven't been able to do this with any of the other secret projects we've done because with all the difficulties Dragonsteel and all those people had with sending out all the secret projects, I didn't get Tress to like 4 months after and I didn't get the Frugal Wizard for a few months either, but they've got things down. And man, I'm not used to having a microphone, I guess. But we got so I thought it'd be fun if we unbox it on the show. Now the question is, do you want to unbox it or should I?
It's your book.
Fine, I'll unbox
So I'll do it.
Sorry if our filming skills are below par with stuff. And I guess I didn't even think about this. We're probably gonna have to just cut this part out for the audio, because what's the point of all this for the people listening to us? Do you like the sound of the box opening?
Here, hold on. For those listening on Spotify or other places, check out our YouTube channel, and you can
Oh yeah, so you can watch
take a
us.
look at us.
There's a good little plug for you.
We open up the. We're gonna open up the book. We're taking a look at Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. So
Yumi
go
and
check
the
it out.
Frugal Wizard.
Yumi and the Frugal Tress.
Yes, holy cow.
Yes, so go check it out. We're at YouTube Into the Pages.
So you haven't seen anything about it. It's always got a quote. This one says, "Storytelling is essentially about cheating." By Wit, of course.
Is it a different quote for everyone, or did all the Secret Project 4 have that?
It wasn't this quote. It was a different one for all.
Oh, I'm wondering if all the Secret 4 has that, or if like each box has a different quote.
Each box have a different quote.
Like, so if I had ordered one and got this exact book.
Quote? It probably would be the same.
Oh.
I don't know. I haven't watched anyone else's.
Makes sense that it would be. That'd be too much.
All right, first off, we get a little, they sent one of these spoiler things of what's in the box, but we're just gonna look what's in the box. This is one thing I'm always excited about. The pins. Got Shalon. What do you think of that?
Oh, nice.
Take a look at that. Maybe show it to the camera.
That's cool.
Because it's way too close. I guess all the men just have to show a picture. I don't know. And this is one of the things I'm always excited about is the bookmarks. They're so dang nice. Like, do you ever remember getting bookmarks from Barnes & Noble?
No, I always use toilet paper or the receipt as mine.
Toilet paper? I don't remember using
I can't tell you how many books I started reading while I was taking a dump. And I'm like, oh, I gotta save my spot. So just grab a square of toilet paper.
Well, at least it was not used, right?
Most commonly, though, my bookmarks were the receipt of the book that I bought.
Oh, gosh. Well, you guys will also have to check out our Instagram. I'll post some pictures of these on the Instagram. And I like this one. Like, I was actually kind of disappointed slightly with the Frugal Wizard, because like with Tress you get Tress. Tress is on the bookmark. But with the Frugal Wizard, it's Cephawin. It's not John. And this one was a little different because, I mean, like, there's two main characters. But this one we get, like, Yumi's on this side. But then if you flip it over, we got Yumi and Painter. So I kind of like that. But I wanted the main character because they're all girly stuff.
It's pretty cool.
All right, now for the part that you're most excited about.
Yes.
Comes with a sticker, which is super cool. Maybe I'll hold it up to you. That part was blurry, but
Oh, nice. I'm assuming that's supposed to be Yumi.
I think it's Yumi, yeah. Pretty sweet.
Nice.
And then, of course, the book itself. And I think this is my favorite looking one. I better open it very carefully.
What does it say on the back?
It says something on the back? Oh, yes. A person is more than their experiences, stacked up like stones. Our best moments are the foundation we use to reach for the sky. Oh, good wise words. But, oh, man. Like, I love the feel of physical books, and I really love the feel of these Secret Project books. They're so well made, but I will never read it.
Let's see. Yeah, these definitely seem like more collector pieces.
100%.
It looks really good.
And like, man, if I ever know that I'm going to meet Brandon Sanderson, I will want to bring these and be like, would you put some ink on these pages?
The next Dragonsteel convention. I don't know does he only sign one book, or can you make a whole stack? Because if he only signs one book per person, we should stand in line together. And I'll hold Frugal Wizard. Caitlin will hold Tress. Well, Caitlin's my wife, and then you'll hold the other one. Like, well, let's just collect all your Secret Project books. They can all get.
That would be sick.
It's nice. The art in here looks really nice.
Yes. So like, you even feel the same way I do. I don't even dare hardly like open the thing very much, like damage the spine.
I don't want to, because I want it to be displayed and nice.
100%. Yeah. It's funny too that these books all look a lot thicker than they actually are. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like actually, what I did is like I had been looking at my copy of Tress with the Secret Project one or the Kickstarter one, but then I went to Barnes and Noble and saw the one that they were like released to the public, and it's like a lot thinner.
Oh, really?
But I don't know. And actually, I think one of the reasons is because it doesn't have any of the art. None of the art is in their book.
So that's a bunch of pages, and I bet the pages themselves are higher quality.
I think that's the other thing too.
Paper, yeah.
It's like these just feel like much higher quality. But oh man, and like this is also another thing that I love about Brandon Sanderson. It's like he released a video when the Kickstarter blew up, and he was like, instead of pocketing this money, I don't know if we talked about this in the podcast, but instead of pocketing this money, he gave more back to us, to all of his readers, and like, holy cow, he delivered. Tell you what, I don't know how long it took to figure this crap out, but dang, him and his team are delivering a really good product.
Well, I don't know why I didn't notice this before, but Yumi and Painter are the colors of the Heon lights.
Oh yeah. You're gonna hold up for the camera. I didn't notice that either. I just got.
So you can see Yumi and Painter. They're kind of like they're opposite colors of each other. They are like opposite smokes, but they're the colors of the Heon lights. Yumi is the magenta. Painter is the teal, and even the spine,
the words and everything, the swirls and stuff around or something.
Okay. There's the Shalon pin. Pretty nice. Sorry. There's the bookmark. You got the zoomed out. You got Painter, Yumi, and then on the other side, you got a more zoomed in of Yumi. Very nice. You can kind of see it. There we go. So it looks like it's also like the Heon lines. This is probably what it looks like when you watch TV, what the actors look like. You can see it's pretty detailed, but
still, it's just like only two colors.
Yeah, still only two colors.
Alrighty, everyone. That is our episode today. Sorry again for everyone who is just listening. Might have to go check out the YouTube.
Yes, check out YouTube, check out Instagram. We'll have pictures of these all up on Instagram also if you want to watch this video.
Everything is into the pages. So
into the pages.
Look for our little faces, our little cartoon faces.
Yes.
And let us know. I'm curious, all of you who jumped on the Kickstarter, did you get your yearbooks yet? Are they as beautiful as you were hoping? Because it's definitely as beautiful as I was hoping. Alrighty, next week we will dive into the pages of chapters 19, 20, and 21.
Yeah. Get into it again. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great stuff. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. It's over.